There's a story being repeated everywhere right now, so often that nobody questions it anymore. Women are leaving because men failed. Men didn't communicate, didn't show up, didn't meet emotional needs. And women, finally awake, are walking away, choosing freedom, choosing themselves, choosing happiness. Sounds empowering. Here's the problem. If leaving was the cure, why aren't they happier? Why aren't they calmer, lighter, and fulfilled? Because what almost no one talks about is this. A lot of women leave, and the unhappiness follows them. It doesn't vanish. It just changes addresses. And today we're going to ask the question nobody wants to ask. What if the relationship was never the real problem? And what if leaving could never fix it? Let's start with something that isn't debatable. In most modern societies, women initiate the majority of divorces. They're the ones walking away, not from chaos, not from abuse, not from betrayal, but from marriages that look fine. No cheating, no violence, no explosive drama, just a quiet, nagging emptiness. A feeling that something is missing, that this can't be all life is supposed to be. And the explanation we're given is always the same. Men stopped trying. Men got comfortable. Men expected women to work all day and then come home and carry everything else. According to this story, women didn't change. Their eyes opened. They realized they deserve more. And to be fair, some of that is real. Some men absolutely check out. Some relationships become one-sided. Some partners stop investing. No one is denying that. But here's where the story stops making sense. If men were the problem, then removing men should solve it. That's basic logic. Touch a hot stove, pull your hand away, the pain stops. So why doesn't the emotional pain stop? Why do so many women report the same dissatisfaction after leaving? Not just in dating, but in work, friendships, mental health, even family life. Why does the unease show up everywhere they go? At that point, you have to ask an uncomfortable question. What if the diagnosis was wrong? Think about it this way. Someone is told they're unhappy because of their house. Too small, too dark, too confining. So they move. At first, it feels lighter. Then the heaviness comes back. So now it must be the city. They move again. Same feeling. Then the job. Then the relationship. Then the people around them. Different settings. Same emotional weight. At some point, you have to stop and ask, is the world really the problem? Or is it the way the world is being filtered? Because when discomfort follows you everywhere, it usually isn't coming from the outside. Now here's where things get uncomfortable, but important. Across multiple studies, women report lower overall life satisfaction than men. Not just in relationships, in careers, in mental health, in stress levels, in burnout. This isn't anecdotal. It's documented. And before the obvious objection comes up, no, that's just because women are oppressed everywhere. Here's the detail that complicates the story. In many workplace studies, women report less satisfaction under female leadership than under male leadership. That's not my opinion. That's data. If men or male-dominated systems were the core issue, women-led environments should feel like relief. But the dissatisfaction doesn't disappear, which tells us something critical. The source of the unhappiness isn't simply men. It's something happening internally. Here's a perspective that almost never gets discussed. On average, women experience emotional dissatisfaction more frequently and more intensely. Not because their lives are worse, but because of differences in emotional processing and expectation setting. This isn't an insult, it's psychology. Women score higher, on average, in traits related to worry, rumination, and emotional sensitivity. That doesn't mean fragility. It means deeper emotional awareness. But here's where things go wrong. When discomfort feels intense, the mind demands an explanation. And the easiest explanation is the environment. The relationship must be wrong. The partner must be wrong. The life setup must be wrong. So the environment gets changed. But the emotional baseline stays the same. And that's when people realize changing the scenery doesn't change the lens. Expectations, that's where everything quietly explodes. Modern women are sold a promise that no human being could ever live up to. A career that feels meaningful every day. A partner who understands every emotion before it's spoken. A relationship that's passionate, safe, exciting, and effortless at the same time. Independence without loneliness. Support without dependence. That's not a relationship. That's a fictional character. No real person can sustain that role for long. And yet, women are taught that if a man doesn't meet every expectation, she's settling. And settling, in modern culture, is framed as self-betrayal. So she doesn't leave because the relationship is bad. She leaves because it isn't perfect. And when she steps back into the dating world, reality hits hard. Every man is flawed, just in different ways. The emotionally open man lacks drive. The ambitious man lacks presence. The kind man lacks attraction. The exciting man lacks stability. This isn't a ladder of upgrades. It's a carousel of trade-offs. And now, there's no shared history to soften those compromises. No foundation to make imperfection tolerable. Here's a fact that completely disrupts the popular narrative. Lesbian couples, 2 women, no men involved, have the highest divorce rates. Gay male couples, 2 men, no women involved, have the lowest. If men were the core problem, this would make no sense. But it makes perfect sense if dissatisfaction, not masculinity, is the driving force. Women tend to act on dissatisfaction quickly. Men tend to tolerate discomfort longer. Neither is morally better, but one pattern produces more stability. Men and women are conditioned differently. Men are taught that relationships require effort, patience, and endurance. That frustration is part of the deal. That happiness comes and goes. Women are taught that unhappiness is a warning sign, that something is wrong and must be fixed or escaped. Same experience, different interpretations. Men see a bad week as weather. Women are often taught to see it as a climate. And people don't abandon cities because of bad weather. They leave when they believe the climate is unlivable. Here's how this plays out in real life. A woman says she's unhappy, but can't fully explain why. The man panics and tries to fix it. He communicates more, plans dates, reads relationship books, goes to therapy, and nothing changes. Because he's repairing a roof while the real issue is pressure building inside the house. No amount of external adjustment can fix an internal mismatch between expectation and reality. After the separation, there's a honeymoon phase. Freedom feels intoxicating. Silence feels peaceful. Independence feels powerful. Then time passes. Freedom turns into emptiness. Silence turns into loneliness. Independence turns into isolation. And a slow realization sets in. The relationship wasn't the cage. It was the structure. Now there's space, but no warmth. Then comes the moment that cuts deepest. She sees her ex doing well, grounded, stable, committed to someone new, and a thought lands that can't be ignored. Maybe he wasn't the problem. Not perfect, but present. Not extraordinary, but reliable. Not fantasy, but real. That realization hurts more than the breakup, because it can't be undone. This isn't an argument for staying in harmful relationships. Abuse is real. Neglect is real. Some situations absolutely require leaving. But that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about women leaving functional, imperfect relationships because they believe happiness exists somewhere else. Often it doesn't. The most damaging lie sold to women is this: that happiness should be constant. That dissatisfaction means failure. That discomfort is a signal to escape. Happiness was never meant to be permanent. It comes in waves. Men are taught to endure that reality. Women are taught to correct it. Same ocean, different expectations. The answer isn't lowering standards. It's clarifying them. It's learning the difference between weather and climate, between fantasy and sustainability, between internal unrest and external problems. Women who learn this stop running. They stop chasing emotional perfection and start building emotional resilience. They stop searching for the perfect man and learn how to stay grounded in imperfect reality. And some of them realize, painfully late, that what they had was rare. Not exceptional, not cinematic, but solid. And solid is often what people miss most once it's gone. This conversation isn't comfortable, but comfortable stories aren't saving anyone. If dissatisfaction follows someone everywhere they go, the solution isn't another exit, it's introspection. The peace many women are searching for isn't waiting in the next relationship. It's found by recalibrating expectations, understanding emotional patterns, and learning what enough actually looks like in real life. That truth may not trend, but it might save years of regret. If this made you uncomfortable, it probably mattered. If it made you think, you're not alone. Like the video, so it reaches the people who need to hear it. Subscribe if you want more conversations no one else is willing to have. And comment below. Have you seen this pattern play out in real life? Let's talk about it.